In today's video, I'm going to rank all of the traits in anime adventures. If you find this video helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you have any questions, feel free to join my Discord. First up, we have Nimble. Now keep in mind, I'm going to just go off the basic Nimble. Of course, there's Nimble 1, which is a 5% SBA buff. Nimble 2, 7.5% SBA buff. And Nimble 3, which is a 12% SBA buff. I am going to put Nimble at B tier. And the reason why is because normally SBA is not something you want to focus on when it comes to trait, unless it's someone like Broly. And I feel like Broly is probably the only exception where Nimble is good. But other than that, I think Range and Superior are definitely way better than Nimble, so I'm going to put it straight in the middle. Next up, we have Range. Range 1 is a 10% increase. Range 2 is a 12.5% increase. And Range 3 is a 15% increase. I am going to put this in A tier. I think out of the 3 rares, which is Range, SPA, and Strength, I'm going to put the only one at A will be Range. The reason why Range is at A is because Range is just such a good trait. Almost all units can benefit from Range. Of course, Shanks is good with Range. Broly is good with Range. Akine is good with Range. Erwin is a must-have with Range. So it's like, Range is just one of the better traits in the game, and I would highly recommend getting it. And of course, if you have a unit that you want to know the specific best trait for, comment it down below in the comment section what you have, and I will give you my personal opinion on what trait you should get. Next up, we have Superior. Superior 1 gives 10%, Superior 2 gives 12.5%, and Superior 3 gives a 15% buff. I'm also going to put this one at B, but I do believe it's better than Nimble. And the reason why I think Superior is B and not A is because it just isn't as useful as Range. I think Range is 100% the best. And if anything, I may even put Nimble at C, Superior at B, and still keep Range at A. Because there are other traits that are definitely way better than Superior and Nimble that are still in B tier. Next up, Calling. Calling, I'm going to have to put it at C or D, either high D or really low C. I'm going to put it in D for now. The reason is because Calling gives a 20% damage buff when the enemy is below 30 to 35% HP. Now keep in mind, if you have a high damaging unit and they're already below that amount of HP, then, why do you need the damage buff? You're already going to be killing them instantly, basically. I think Culling is so useless, and I'm not going to lie, to me it feels like it doesn't even work. I had a Broly with Culling before I rerolled it straight after I found out how bad it was. And I was attacking a boss, I was quite low, and he did the exact same amount of damage. Personally, I think Superior is just better, and of course is more calming. Next up, we have Adept. Now, I am going to put Adept at A tier, and I am going to put it above Range. Now, Adept would be S if it was useful once you got level 60. Adept is so useful. It does make your units gain more XP from fruits, so you feed it, it gains more XP. It's not going to gain the same amount of XP from the fruits. And it gains more from completion. Seriously, if you're low on fruits and you roll Adept, it is such a great way to get your unit to level 60, and then you just switch off the trait. So I would put Adept at S tier if it was useful after 60, but it isn't, and that's why Adept is staying in A tier. Next up, we have Godspeed. Now, I am going to put Godspeed at A, but high A, very close to S, because Godspeed, unlike Nimble, is quite the useful trait. It increases the attack speed by 20% on units like Broly or maybe All Might. Just in a situation where you want to attack faster, it is for sure good, but do not get a Nimble trait on your Dio because it will mess up with your time stops. Next up, we have Sniper. Now, Sniper is going to be one of the few S's. Sniper increases range by 25%. Okay, keep in mind, this is such a great trait. If you have 40 range, your range is now going to be 50. It is a massive, massive increase, and Sniper is definitely one of the best traits. Divine. Divine is going to be another S tier. Divine is just the solid midpoint for all of the stats combined, and that's why Divine is S. Divine gives a damage 20% buff, range 20% buff, and attack speed buff of 10%. Now, like I was mentioning, attack speed is probably the most useless one, so of course, the 20% on range and damage are both very useful, and 100% makes Divine an S tier. Next up, we have Unique. Now, Unique is going to be another A tier. There is reason behind this. People may think, oh my gosh, Unique, that has to be S. But no. And the reason is because Unique only works on very few units. A great example would be Shanks. The reason is because Unique gives a 3x damage buff, a range buff 15%, and attack speed buff by 10%. But you can only place one of the unit. So if you can place any more than four or more of the unit, Unique is just not good. It's basically a debuff on your unit. Next up is Golding. Golding is going to be a C tier, maybe even D tier, because Golding is pretty much completely useless unless they buff it in the future, and it's pretty much just a flex. Golden increases the money gain from a unit by 5% and damage by 10%. Finally, we have Reaper. I am going to put Reaper at A tier, high A, maybe possibly S. The reason is because Reaper gives 20% more damage dealt to bosses and 10% increase in damage to regular enemies, so it's great for boss killer units like Levi. If you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing, comment down below any future videos idea, and make sure you join my group. That's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.